Hello, welcome to Bet on Hoops. In this video, we are going to look at the 5 most interesting storylines for this upcoming 2025-2026 NBA season. The season starts October 21st, 2025. So I thought this would be a good video to make so we can keep track of these 5 interesting storylines as the season goes along. Let's start with the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the world's most popular NBA teams, and it has 2 of the world's most popular superstars, LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Now, when Luka got traded last year, you could tell they were just trying to fill things out, trying to get a sense of this new chemistry and whether or not this experiment, whether or not this trade would even work. So now we've had an off season, we've had the preseason. We are going to see if this experiment is indeed going to work, and it might. A big issue, though, is LeBron starting his 23rd season. A lot of miles on those tires. Naturally, you got to think if hardly any other player in NBA history besides Vince Carter and Robert Parrish have made it this far, have played this long, will LeBron hold up? So that's a key question. And will it impact the team? Will it make that big of a difference when you got somebody like Luka on the team? If LeBron doesn't play that much, will it even affect the Lakers? I would think one of the greatest players ever to play the game, if he ain't playing, even at his age, I would think you would want LeBron out there, but that's going to be interesting. That's why this is one of the reasons it's an interesting storyline. So will LeBron hold up going into his 23rd NBA season? But to me, just as a big of a factor, a big of an issue is, can Luka take on a leadership role? Me personally, I don't see Luka as a leader. He's a wonderful scorer. I see him as a fantastic scorer. Basically just says, get me the ball, I'm going to score points, and that's how we're going to win. Can Luka be a leader? Can he put this team on his back? Can he be a good team player as far as getting everybody on the same page and motivating people, picking people up when they're not having a great game or great season? Or is he going to complain to the refs all year like we've seen him do plenty of times in the past? So can Luka take on a leadership role? That's what I want to see. If LeBron's hurt all the time or if they're doing load management throughout the season, can Luka stay healthy, and can Luka take on a leadership role and become the man, the guy that the Lakers need to get them into the playoffs and who knows, maybe even the Western Conference Finals? Will J.J. Redick, will his coaching continue to improve? J.J. got a lot of flack, rightfully so, with experience, with knowing what to expect, with more reps, quote-unquote reps, if you will. Will his coaching continue to improve? He might have potential as far as a coach goes, NBA coach goes. So now that he has experience, there was a lot of criticism because he didn't have experience, and then he got the job of coaching one of the biggest franchises on planet Earth. But that's going to be interesting to see how well J.J. Redick does as a coach in another season under his belt. So the big issues, though, are injuries and chemistry. Can Luka be a leader? Can Luka and LeBron, when LeBron's healthy, have good chemistry? And who knows, this dynamic duo might lead them to yet another title, or at least the finals or conference finals at the very least. Now on to Golden State. Can Golden State contend again? They always seem like they can find a way to be relevant, be competitive, but they got a lot of veterans on that team. So will the veterans last the season? Be in that advanced stage, you got people like Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Al Horford Jr., Buddy Hield, a lot of experience, but also a lot of seasons on that team. In fact, they're one of the oldest starting 5 in history. So can the older veterans, more experienced veterans, hold their own against these young up-and-comers? And can they be the Golden State Warriors that we're used to seeing in the postseason contending for titles? Another storyline, which isn't that big of one, but it's always fascinating to see, like a young team like the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, they were easy to root for. You know, there's this little small market team, got these young players that seem like they're having fun, and they did it. They climbed the mountain, reached the top of the mountain, and became NBA champions. But now they are the champions. And as we know in sports, everybody guns for the champions. They got that target on their back. So how can OKC deal with the success, deal with being on top of that mountain? And can they stay on top now that they are the champs? So will they repeat? They certainly can, that's for sure. But the West has some other teams that are very interesting, in my opinion. It's going to be hard for them to repeat, but definitely they should be one of the favorites in the Western Conference. But how are they going to handle the success of being the champs, and will they defend their title? Leave a comment in the description below. See what you think about the Oklahoma City Thunder in this upcoming NBA season. Now, I've mentioned the Western Conference several times throughout this video, so let's give the Eastern Conference some love now. As we all seen, us basketball fans, NBA fans, I mean, last year's playoffs were intense, and you had two devastating injuries to two bright stars in the same injury. I think different feet, though. Both of those Achilles injuries to Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton. And it's fascinating to see if players can come back from that injury. Most can, but can they come back at that level, at that all-star level, MVP level, like Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton? So that's going to be interesting to see how their teams are going to fare after these injuries to these superstars. So will the Knicks, will the Cavs rise up because of the fading Indiana Pacers and Boston Celtics, primarily because of the two injuries to their biggest stars? The way I see it, the East is going to be wide open. It's not just going to be Boston anymore that you can pretty much bank on making the Eastern Conference Finals or getting to the finals, or the Miami Heat, the Bucks, or the 76ers. The way that the Knicks finished the season, even though they came up a little short, they certainly are going to be on the rise. Now they got Coach Mike Brown. I will be curious to see if Coach Brown could take the Knicks to the next level. And Cleveland had a wonderful season for the most part, just came up short in the playoffs. But as long as they can stay healthy, they have an excellent chance of making the NBA Finals. Due to factors such as injuries to Tatum and Halliburton, probably going to fade the Pacers and the Celtics and bump up the Knicks and Cavs for the true contenders of the Eastern Conference. But it's wide open. And finally, the last storyline, most interesting storyline of the 2025-2026 NBA season, is we go back to the Western Conference. And so we had one of the biggest off-season moves is KD going to the Rockets. The Rockets were a great defensive team last year, hard-nosed, scrappy, intense team. They made some moves, the biggest one being Durant is now on the Rockets. So does that make them serious contenders? Durant's been in the league a long time. We're going to see if he stays healthy and what kind of impact he will have on the Rockets. It didn't go so well in Phoenix. Will it go well in Houston? The Clippers. We have a new big three in L.A. You have, of course, Kawhi, but James Harden's there. You have Bradley Beal. He's there. So is that the new big three in LA. And does that shift the power from the Nuggets in OKC to now Clipperland? So are the Rockets serious contenders just because they added Kevin Durant? And are we going to see a big three with the LA Clippers with Durant, Bill, and Leonard? So that's going to be interesting to see if that comes to fruition and they really are a big three. We've seen plenty of big threes in the past. Some of them work out, some of them don't. It's not a guarantee to an NBA championship. So those are my top 5 interesting storylines for the upcoming NBA season. I'm excited for basketball to start, no matter if it's college basketball, NBA basketball. Let's get these seasons rolling. Let's get these balls dribbling, and let's see how these storylines shake out. Whether it's in LA, whether it's with Luka and LeBron, with the Lakers, or the potential big three with the Clippers. Let's see how the Eastern Conference shakes out. Will New York and Cleveland be the kings of the Eastern Conference? And it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Boston, Indiana after successful seasons last year. How will Golden State and those elder statesmen, how are they going to hold up throughout the long, long marathon of a season that is the NBA season? And will OKC handle the pressure, handle the weight on their shoulders and the target on their backs of being NBA champions? Can they repeat, or is success too much and it was too much to defend that title? That's why I love sports. That's why I love basketball. You got to play the game, and you decided on the court. So if you like this video, hit that like button. If you hadn't already, appreciate it if you subscribe to Bet on Hoops and follow us on the various social media outlets and channels. And let's enjoy this upcoming NBA season.